So the Quiet Project, I think, was really born out of a need and a desire. And look, our first conversation around this that we had was in an aged care setting.
Ben said to me, I really want to capture the stories of some of the people in the aged care centre. There's so much value and there's thousands of stories we can capture. I said, why don't we do it?
There's two parts to this, obviously. One is there's great conversations that we can have. Obviously, there's a story in all of us, but how do we get that out? And also, how can we at the same time educate young people to go about having these conversations and extracting these wonderful stories?
We had probably 6 copies talking about this idea, and we had to start putting the bones of this together.
The first time that I became involved in this project was through Ben and Neil having a discussion about conversations with older people in the aged care setting. And only fortuitously, a couple of days earlier, I received a package from a family member of a conversation that was recorded from my own grandfather, a very close family member of mine. And it was done by a university student who sat down with my pop and they asked him questions. And it was handwritten, it was written out. And I could hear my pop's voice. I could hear my conversation, hear the stories I'd never heard of before, or things that I had never quite considered, especially now, 20 years since his passing. And I was thinking, if only they recorded this, if only there was a way that they could have had this as some sort of medium that I can play over and over again and see the subtleties of his conversation and the way he held himself and the way he, combed his hair or moved his body.
Our job really will be to hopefully document and curate beautiful conversations between all sorts of people.
Our main purpose is really centered around providing a service to the community through what we capture and do. And it services, the youth, but also the aged community, different communities, not just the aged, but Indigenous, war veterans.
People of all ages are crying out to be heard, and that's what this is about. So it's about young people also, not just simply being part of the conversation, but feeling that they're being heard as well as another. And I think that's really critical. Often we have this perception that young people are being heard and their voices are really loud, but I think that the data and the metrics speak otherwise. That there's a growing level of anxiety and in our society, loneliness and so forth. We need to overcome that.
There is a large chunk of our society that don't feel valued. Large chunk of our society that doesn't feel like they know that there's someone looking out for them, someone that cares what they have to say. And with the Quiet Project, we're aiming to bridge that.
The legacy of this, I think, is going to be capturing great stories and really making sure that people feel really heard. The heard and listened to, I think just go hand in hand, and I think that we've got to make sure that that's happening for all sides of the equation here, and making sure that can happen. At least we can look back on 10, 20 years, 30 years down the track, we've done our job.